Bingo was his name-o. And here, I have opened Pandora's box tonight, ladies and gents. As your host, Sully. Good evening. It is JJ Bruno.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I welcome. I am James Bruno. I am... Okay, no, sorry.
I am not Lugosi, but I'm close. Very close.
I'm Gil Palmer. I don't do
sorry. Yeah, I was about to touch the... We have Gil Palmer returning onto the show, ladies and gents. He's been waiting to do another Mr. Science Theater movie buff type sit down. And what's that? Well, Tom is in the house. You smelt it? He dealt it.
And I'm for sure not appearing in this film.
Not appearing in this film. Oh. Also not appearing on this podcast, Kanye. But that's okay.
It was at that point they realized nothing was lost.
That he was lost, and he was now coming on to this podcast. So this has been a long time in the making. I just figured, who better to talk about 60s and 70s tough guys? We're just going back into the TV vaults, and I just figured we could talk about all kinds of just underrated, not as talked about, or even wacky to some extent, just guys who should be on some kind of action movie star list. Just they know how to stake a vampire. They know how to win a gunfight with a bunch of other outlaws. They know how to just be a badass cop who doesn't even need a gun to kick someone's ass. Just all these various guys in these two eras,
A bad cop on the loose.
Right. A rogue cop killing other rogue cops. All kinds of people who are kind of the Ray Donovans or Jack Bauers of their time, where it's like they're one minute they're being a bad cop, and then the next minute is like they're a good guy, but they're using basically everything the villain is throwing at them to retaliate. There's so many.
We're talking about James Coburn, Charles Bronson, Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
James Coburn though? The only thing I ever really watched him in. Well, who was it in Kelly's Heroes? That was Lee Marvin.
No. Kelly's Heroes is Clint Eastwood.
Okay, Clint Eastwood, and then.
But in all fairness, it does have Telly Savalas.
There you go. Another legit bad guy, a hard ass.
But like James Coburn, the only thing I really remember with him is the Flint movies. Is that? Yeah.
Fair enough. He's he's in Duck You Sucker. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to, growing up, would get him mixed up with Lee Marvin, even though Lee Marvin had more of a scowling jaw. But Coburn is more just kind of flamboyant. There's plenty of movies he's in where you just recognize the voice before you even see him on screen, because he just had that kind of aura where it's like, I'm the mysterious guy, taking a smoke or being a wise ass.
Dirty Dozen. That's with Lee Marvin, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
And it has Telly Savalas, and then when they made the third Dirty Dozen movie, he played the captain to replace Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
So do a flip on that,
Oh,
and I think Borgnine was too for some reason.
Borgnine was there. Ernie Hudson was in one.
Yeah.
Ernie Hudson. How does this go?
Winston, baby. Yeah.
Apparently, if there was a paycheck in it, he'd believe anything you say. Including this was a winnable war.
Hudson, as a sidebar, is just an amazing dude in that instead of waiting for acting, he basically let acting come to him. He started performing plays that he had written, and casting agents started knocking on his door because they had been fortunate enough to see him just knock it out of the park at whatever play he was performing at. And
remember, he was in the late great lamented The Last Precinct.
Yeah,
with
Adam West. Adam West is so underrated as a movie star too, because he's so physical when you actually look down to the nuts and bolts of it. Oh man. There's like a musical where Adam West plays like George Washington, I think. So if you think about it real long and hard, our founding father was Batman.
He's also in the Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did you ever that movie? I got to rewatch that.
Lady Chatterley too. Yeah, the Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood is kind of a real funny movie to watch because it's Chris Lemmon.
I'm trying to remember for sure. Joey Heatherton was in. Was that the one, or was that a Happy Hooker movie?
Martine Bestwick was in the Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood.
Okay.
Joey Heatherton was in Happy Hooker Goes to Washington, and that has one of the best lines ever uttered by Reb Brown's wife, who says, "His cocksucker." Yeah, Sissy Cameron, who says, "Is cocksucker one word or two words?"
The world may never know.
The world may never know. That is a hell of a line. Now I got to ask you this, JJ. Have you ever gotten any of those Crown International Pictures, like drive-in DVD sets?
Yes.
There was one gym on there. The rest were kind of okay or middle of the road. But there was one
200. I had a 200 pack of movies.
The 200 pack is great, but there was this one.
I got through about 50 of them so far.
50. But there was one that was a total gem. It was called The Specialist. No, not the Stallone picture. This one was from 75 and has, it's basically, one reviewer said it best. This is an R-rated episode of Matlock, where basically Adam West is caught in an adulterous affair as a lawyer. And at the end, it's just so great. He just randomly takes out a gun that no one ever knew he even had out of his briefcase and just shoots the guy he's been trying to get evidence on. You're like, that is amazing. Only Adam West could have sold this sleazy movie. Oh, he's had some other gems that I thought would have been perfect on Elvira or Joe Bob or Mystery Science. There's this one from like 1990. Yeah, Nightmare is great. Zombie Nightmare is good, but there's another one he's in called Maxim Zool, which I think might be by the same company. He's a demon slayer and he's reading all these scriptures that really don't mean anything. Then at the end, he has to sacrifice himself to the demon. There's some other ones on here. We can't not mention Lee Van Cleef. Just, I love how that man was on High Noon, I think, and he wanted to play one of the deputies, and they're like, "You're
before the master." Yeah.
Yeah.
Master. He's in what is it? The Western that he did.
Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Was that?
No. He did Good, Bad, and the Ugly, but there was one where it was like one of the 50 worst movies ever made. It's Sabata, right? He does that.
God, those are boring.
And there's a movie he did where they actually made him to be a American Indian.
I think I know the one. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's played Indians in something else before too, like some
maybe
old TV
a Gunsmoke episode.
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
But what is his first role most famous for? The first role he ever did.
Oh shit!
Not that one where he's.
I know Kansas City Confidential. He shows up as a hitman for one scene.
Yeah. But what was the first role he did? He's famous for what monster movie?
It was on Mystery Science Theater, wasn't it?
No. You'll never guess what he was in.
Shoot. Was it Universal horror? No.
Yeah. It was a Universal horror movie. Yeah. It's not It Conquered the World. It's not the talking vegetable one. It's not the one that Frank Zappa makes fun of.
Is it a Frankenstein
movie? He's the guy that fires the bullet at the monster from 50,000 Fathoms. He fires the radioactive bullet. And
probably one of Tarantino's favorite moments.
Yeah, and he had, what was it? He was in South Pacific.
And he also
Mutiny. Him and Claude Akins.
Mm-hmm.
Are in the King Mutiny.
He was so many underrated movies.
He like, if you saw the name Lee Van Cleef back then, I mean, to me, like a lot of these guys we're going to mention, they had their chance through the studio system. And then when that broke down, they started to take these roles that were like in B pictures. Like if you look at Lee Marvin in Dead Heat. Was it Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round?
Oh yeah, he's pretty exhausted on that one.
When he does what's the one he did with Angie Dickinson and Ronald Reagan? The Killing.
I don't know if he was in The Killing.
He was. I think he was. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
I don't know. I don't remember. But it was like he Lee Marvin like played tough guys. I saw him in one of the last movies he ever did. A movie called Dog Day, which is in which was done in France.
Yes.
And he was still, commanding the screen presence there.
Oh, totally. And it made sense why they casted him as, the Donald Westlake adaptation, Point Blank.
Yeah, Point Blank. That's what it was. Point Blank.
I've been meaning to see that. I only saw the remake they did. Wasn't there a remake? Yeah.
I mean,
was that what it was called? No, I thought there was one
with
called
Mel Gibson, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a remake, Gil. I remember.
I mean, Westlake's been adapted so many times,
But like to me, like him, and he does a great movie in the 1970s called Shout at the Devil.
Shout at the Devil, yes, so much fun.
Him and Roger Moore.
And you know who saved that movie? Vic Armstrong, our future Indiana Jones stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
Because George Cosmatos, you might know him as the guy who was bullied on Stallone's pictures, Cobra. He was known for being a ghost director. Kurt Russell directed all of Tombstone, not him. But what was so funny is the Greek crew was getting real sick of him, and Vic was bringing him in, just saying, everything will be fine. I'll direct the action scenes, and Madger and Lee are excited. It's like, shit, this is the stuff we want to do. And this guy's been yelling at us, how we're walking, how we're acting, and just to be a dick. Save that movie. Save that World War II escape picture.
Oh, well, Escape to Athena?
Yeah, Athena, sorry. But yeah, Shout at the Devil. Yeah. I get the two mixed up often because they are just so similar.
And Shout at the Devil's a really good movie. It's a B picture,
It is.
But it's a good script too,
Did you ever see Hell in the Pacific where he acts alongside Toshiro Mifune?
Yeah. him and Toshiro Mifune. Holy crow.
They're imagining killing each other as two prisoners of war.
Yeah, he should have gotten an Oscar for that, to be honest with
you. Yeah, because
that's a good.
You guys are mentioning movies I haven't seen yet.
That's all good.
Oh.
We'll get to it 20 years from now.
Gil, get it. Yeah, it's got to be on stream.
What was that you were talking about? Hell in the
Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen it under the movie known as Enemy Mine, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what it's based on.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Same purpose, just different. But yeah, Toshiro Mifune. I mean, you want to talk a Kurosawa legend, Red Sun, where he acts alongside Charles Bronson, is still just a fun.
Oh God, I love that movie.
By James Bond director Terrence Young and Ursula Andress, who I often call as Andress. Yeah.
My father loved that movie. He loved that movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to see it a bunch of times. I just saw Lone Wolf versus Sanjuro.
Oh no,
Zatiochi versus Sanjuro. So that was an interesting watch, especially seeing Mifune come back and play the title role that it made him.
I heard about Lone Wolf. Was there a series of movies for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I'm getting depressed seeing how people have just now heard of it just because of Mandalorian. I'm like, guys, how have you not heard of Lone Wolf and Cub?
Yeah, actually,
those are pretty easy to find.
I'm a comic collector, so I'm familiar with it. But
that's often where those kinds of movies were. You'd see them at comic book shops. We can't not talk about Takeshi Kitano, also known as Pete Takano.
Pete Takashi. Yeah.
Yeah, Takashi. Yeah, Takashi's Castle. Yeah.
Sonatine is a great movie to watch.
It's so brutal, and it leaves you wondering. It's like, how else would this? What does the ending mean? What else would have transpired had he not, just unleashed all this valley of violence at the very end?
You might have to make a list that I'm going to have to check out because some of these.
I promise.
Yeah.
Here with the class.
to me, the 60s and the 70s were the age of the tough guy. And you've got the hierarchy. You've got Bronson, you got Eastwood, you've got Heston, okay?
Right.
You've got McQueen, who basically kind of was, he'd done Bullet, he'd done The Getaway, he does Papillon, and then he comes back with Towering Inferno. Exactly. Newman, I don't think Newman was much of a tough guy, to be honest with you. But then you got
other than Ombre and a few others and Butch Cassidy. Yeah, other than Westerns, he's mainly just serious actor. Yeah.
But I think you got guys like James Coburn, you got guys like Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Joe Don Baker. Here's a surprise for you. Walter Matthau.
Yeah. Charlie Varick. He's both in.
That was for sale. I was going to pick that up too, but I didn't.
Charlie. And The Taking of 1, 2, 3.
Yes. Now, here's one for you, JJ. Did you ever see The Laughing Policeman?
Oh God, no, I have not.
Okay,
I want to see that.
You'll love this. The dialogue just crackles. It's basically, it came out the same year as Serpico, and it's another one. Just Bruce Dern plays a cop, suspected of suspiciousness, who's just laughing like a maniac. And meanwhile, Matthau is just like, get the fuck out of my way. I got to stop a mad bomber, from blowing up New York. So I just love it.
Loop back on Serpico, we can look at Al Pacino as a potential tough guy.
Totally a tough guy. Before he
did Serpico, he did Dog Day Afternoon. He epitomized the tough, at least a street style tough guy.
Yeah, TV guy once said The Godfather is as much an action picture as it is a crime drama. I mean, you do believe him in those Sidney Lumet movies, and even in Cruising and Sea of Love. And it's just a shame that, other than Heat, people just were wanting to say, come back and be Scarface. And it's like, no, stop coming back and being Scarface. Oh.
James Caan had a real good.
James Caan, yes.
Yeah, he did some martial arts things or something, I remember.
Freebie and the Bean, The Killer Elite with Robert Duvall.
Killer Elite, I was trying to think
of. Duvall is definitely a tough guy when given the chance.
Yeah. Killer Elite, he does Rollerball.
Yeah, Rollerball. Such a freaky movie.
He does The Godfather.
Right. What a brutal fight scene. Yep.
What's the one he did where he was the thief? Well, there was Thief.
Yeah,
but there was another one he did where his kids get taken away or something like that.
I'm trying to remember. It's 1980. I remember. Yeah, and it's just heartbreaking because he's just like, what do I do?
And there were, Jimmy Caan, Duvall. Yeah, I gotta say Duvall.
Totally. Every other Western, every other tough cop movie he's done. Harvey Keitel is a good one.
Harvey Keitel.
Jack Palance will shotgun blast, whether it's The Professionals or one of those cheesy Italian, gangster movies he's done, like Mr. Scarface. You always know you're in for one hell of a time.
There was a movie that oh shoot, I'm trying to remember it. It was well, here's two guys that kind of made comedy and tough guy movies hand in hand, and I think they're always overlooked. Is Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I like the shit. My Name Is Nobody, and
all the spaghetti westerns. Yeah,
Bud Spencer. I don't know if he was in that, but
because and they did a knockoff of Terrence Spencer with Paul Smith, the big heavy set guy from Midnight Express.
Oh wow!
And they had a guy who looked like Terrence Hill. His name was Terrence Hall.
Oh man!
Oh yes.
Poor Bucci got PO'd, and he's like, "Look, I'm suing your asses for this." And Paul Smith $2 million or something like that.
Oh jeez.
But when you think about it too, I mean, blaxploitation movies were tough guys too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Fred Williamson.
Yeah.
We'll talk Pam Grier sometime. Jim Kelly. There's one great one in like 1982. It's like It's not Free the Hard Way, although that's a good one too. It's like 5 down, 2 to go, or something like that. It's got Jim Brown, Jim Kelly. It's literally their Expendables.
Kelly, Fred the Hammer Williamson. I keep thinking, for some reason, Yaphet Kotto.
I don't think Koto's in it, but it's pretty close. One of those other types.
Richard Roundtree, did that get mentioned?
Yeah, Roundtree is definitely in it. But
yeah,
Koto is definitely underrated. Warning Sign, Alien, Running Man, and plenty of other blaxploitation pictures. Harvey Keitel often brings it. I just saw the pilot of Kojak again. It's fun seeing him as the robber. But
I also, going back to blaxploitation, I also throw in Ron O'Neal. He played a different kind of tough.
Yes, that mustache, baby. Oh my god,
Superfly.
He played a smooth, tough guy.
A very smooth, charismatic dude.
Exactly. He had the image that he was all smooth, nothing got to him. But behind the scenes, there were a couple of scenes where he just laid down the hammer, and he showed you the kind of power he really had. And it wasn't the over the top kind of stuff. It was there. It was just there. It was real. It felt visceral, and truly, it showed just how good of an actor that Ron O'Neal was. And for me, for blaxploitation, I noticed there's a couple things. There are the actors who play tough guys, and then there are tough guys who play tough guys.
Yeah, George Scott and even Marlon Brando, you could probably say play tough guys, but yeah, I would definitely, if I'm considering a tough guy, I'm going to probably think Carl Malden on Streets of San Francisco. I'm going to probably think Tom Selleck. It's fun seeing his obscure 70s movies before he was TV megastar,
The 7 Minutes. Russ Meyer's The 7 Minutes.
Russ Meyer definitely experimented with all kinds of genres before.
He was in a Russ Meyer movie. Tom Selleck.
In that one?
He's in the 7 Minutes. He's in that, and he doesn't have the mustache, but he's in that movie. And I was, my father and me were watching it one day. It was on in the afternoon, and it's the follow up to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And
earliest movie I've seen Tom Selleck in was Raquel Welch. The hell was the name? It was a weird movie. I can't remember the name of it though, but
let's look this up.
Mother Jugs and Speed?
No, it was before that. It was a 60s movie.
Myra Breckenridge.
That's it.
Oh my god. Wow.
Myra was it? I'm trying to go through it. Myra Breckenridge.
That has to be the one. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, he's in that. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he was a contract player for Fox, I think. Because when you think about it, Meyer, that was, as I said, that was the follow-up for Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And people were expecting sexploitation with that movie. And it bombed horribly, but it's a great movie to watch. And, but if you remember, there was him, there was Sam Elliott.
Yes, Sam Elliott is so underrated. You mentioned 7 Minutes. Apparently, Charles Napier's in this, and that dude, always playing a general.
That dude was in everything.
Yeah.
If you need, but yeah, and I just watched him in a movie he did with for Jonathan. I think it was Jonathan Demme, called what was it called? Handle with Care.
Oh.
It's also Paul and Matt is in it. It's Paul and Matt, Roberts Blossom. Candy Clark is in it. It's something about CB radios.
I think I did hear about that, and they had to recut it.
And he plays a trucker with 2 wives, Charles Napier.
Sounds like him.
Oh, it's a good movie to watch. It was low budget, and it was pretty good. It was that whole 70s independent wave to me. And also, we're forgetting somebody who, for me, defined the 70s tough guy. William Smith.
I was thinking of bringing him up when you mentioned.
I like him in Invasion. I like him in Invasion of the Bee Girls.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know if it has so much to do with the ladies in it, but
Is he still alive, or did he recently pass away?
No, he passed away a while back.
I thought
he
it was
passed
the
away.
last couple of years.
Yeah. I think it was 2019, 2018 he passed on. And he was, he's great in Invasion of the Bee Girls, The Ultimate Warrior. He did CC and Company. He's the bad guy in that one.
Wow.
There was a motorcycle movie. Oh, go ahead.
Wasn't there a movie? Because you were talking about Tom Selleck and some of the movies he did. And wasn't there one he did with Jerry Reed where he was a trucker? He was driving a truck or something.
I'm not sure about that.
That's the Peter Fonda one.
Oh yes, with the snakes and the cultist guys. Yeah.
No, that's one.
Okay.
Warren Oates and him was and Peter Fonda were in Race with the Devil.
That's the
Jerry.
one. Sorry,
Jerry. Let's say Jerry Lewis. Jerry Reed and Peter Fonda were in another one because they just done Smokey and the Bandit, so that whole trucker thing was starting to take off. And yeah, so I'm trying to think of that one. I'll put it up later because I'm going to go through all these old previews, and you'll get a kick out of some of the movies that
I'm glad you brought up The Ultimate Warrior because that's just an outrageous movie. You got to see it. Where just Yul Brynner is just going batshit on everybody.
That's a movie. I mean, I liked him in Westworld. I've been wanting to see Ultimate Warrior, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man,
we're gonna die together. We're gonna die together. That's William Smith's great line. In that movie, you see Max von Sydow, who's great. I see I give them to the street people. I saw your man outside. We introduced ourselves. You people cannot hold much power. I like you. I like a man who is tough. Oh God! To see Max von Sydow in a B picture was just like,
Who did he piss off? I heard he was difficult.
Well, we're missing out on a couple of tough guys that we would be remiss if we excluded them. One of them being Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's legit. There's no two ways about it.
What I see with him,
I'm still Team Bruce Lee.
Most of what I saw with him,
but
like Lone Wolf McQuade and stuff.
He was in Breaker.
And that's pretty cool.
Oh,
that was
okay.
Breaker. Jesus.
That's even a
yes. I remember when Conan O'Brien had that on his pull the lever, and he was basically just. It was like, man, we just made this seem so much more gay.
Breaker, good guys wear black, the Octagon. I'm trying to think what else was around.
I think he is one of the guys in the karate school.
Force of One.
We mentioned Jimmy Kahn. I think he is. I think Norris is one of the guys at the karate studio briefly in Freebie and the Bean.
Yeah.
That's also not forget. I think it was Bo Svensson.
Yep.
That's pulling something way out of my past. And I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played Billy Jack.
Oh, Tom Laughlin.
The Billy Jack
Tom Laughlin.
Yep.
The Billy Jack movies are a trip.
I have the box set.
I don't think I have.
How's the picture quality?
Pretty good.
I don't think I've watched those since the 70s.
Oh God, Gil. I mean, there was 4 movies made altogether.
Yeah.
There was The Born Losers in 1967, Billy Jack in 1971, and then The Trial of Billy Jack, which was 1973, and then he made one called Billy Jack Goes to Washington.
That's what I had.
And that got pulled because it was so bad. I mean, the reviews were just terrible. But I remember watching Billy Jack, the first one, and when he's in the park and that guy says, yeah, you think you're smart. You think you know your karate with your kicks and everything like that. What are you going to do about it? He's like, you know what I'm going to do about it? I'm going to take my right leg here, plant it on the left side of your face, There's not going to be one damn thing you can do about it. And I was like, I went to school and this kid comes up. He's like, you want to fight? What are you going to do about it? I says, I'm going to take and I just fucked it up. I was like, I'm going to take my right leg here and put it on the right side of your face. And I think I just screwed up what I said. And he goes, but Billy Jack, he had Bong Soo-han teach him Hapkido. You know who Bong Soo-han is, right?
Yeah.
Hapkido master. He was in Kentucky Fried Movie. He played the bad guy in A Fistful of Yen.
Yes.
But he was also in one of my favorite movies called Force 5 with
Force 5.
Who the hell was in that?
Ron Marchini, I think.
Yeah, and also Benny Jet Yukites.
Yeah. King choreographer. Jackie Chan was afraid of that dude.
We were at the X Fest in June, and they played the preview for Force 5 when Benny Jet Yukites came on. Everybody was cheering because I think a lot of us know who he is. You know.
Oh yes.
Boy. Yeah, no man. What about Robert Shaw?
Oh yeah. Oh come on, Jaws.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Force 10
was
from
it
Navarone.
Jaws?
Yeah. Yep.
Force 10 from Navarone. What was the one that he did where he was the Russian agent?
From Russia with Love, where he's
no, not from Russia. I know he's from Russia with Love.
As Red.
What was it? The Avalanche Express with him and Lee Marvin.
Avalanche Express. I think he's in Battle of the Bulge briefly, but yeah.
But Avalanche Express, I wonder how much drinking was done between him and Lee Marvin.
Oh, they drank 2 bottles, definitely. William Conrad from Cannon and Jake and the Fat Man. What do you think of him?
Wait. Are you saying William Conrad or Robert
William
Conrad?
No, not Robert. William Conrad from Cannon.
William Conrad. I don't remember him being in a lot of movies where he was a tough guy.
Yeah, it's pretty much just small screen. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah. Now, Robert Conrad, I saw in a movie called Sudden Death.
Oh, yeah.
With him and Felton Perry and Don Stroud.
There you go.
And that was a movie I told you about this where it was done in the Philippines. And they did it for I think they probably got a shitload of money to do it. Because they got Don Stroud, they've got who is it? The guy who played the Rick on Magnum PI. They've got John Ashley
Larry
from
Minetti.
the old. Yeah, Larry Minetti. They got John Ashley from the Beach movies playing a like a CIA squealer or something like that.
John Saxon, and it would be a Enter the
Dragon
clone.
That's all it would be John Saxon. But him and Felton Perry, and it's like Felton Perry is just like, it's like him and Felton Perry. It's like the most mismatched duo you can think of, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah,
because it was a good movie. It was a good movie to watch. They slave for pay, and kicks. It was Ernie Anderson did and him and Don Stroud have a fight at the end of the movie. Bloody as hell.
It's been on my watch list, but now I will move it. That's great. That is great. Man. Altogether, Billy D. Williams is a pretty decent, tough guy.
Oh yeah.
Movies.
Hit. You got to see that movie, Hit.
Yes, Hit. He takes out the rocket launcher at the end. That's pretty cool.
No. It's him. He plays the FBI
robbery gang.
No. His daughter overdoses on heroin. Right.
Right. So, I'm just remembering all the ass kicking.
Yeah. And he gets 6 or 7 people who are like tops in their field of what they did. And one of the guys he gets is Richard Pryor.
Yes.
And Richard Pryor I mean, even though it's like a serious movie, Richard Pryor does this one bit where he's like going, 4 seconds, too slow, do it again. Do it again. Like he's like, and you can tell Billy Dee Williams is like laughing his ass off because he's just making fun of like the character. But the movie is just really good because they got to hit everybody like at the same time, at the same spot. And then what they did was Andy Sedaris, who you guys know from, Picasso Trigger and
Mr. 80s dude.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yep. He did a movie called Seven with William Smith, which is almost the same premise.
Yes.
Because they're going to take, and it's who is it? It's William Smith. I keep thinking the guy who played the karate guy in one of the Pink Panther movies.
Oh, Kato, yeah.
No, not Kato. The guy who played the guy who's going to assassinate Clouseau in his house.
Oh, jeez.
Ed Parker, Kempo karate champion, Ed Parker. So Ed Parker's in it. Then they have Al Art Matrano's in it too.
Jeez.
The guy used to go da 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 da. It's somewhere online. I actually watched it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie to watch.
I gotta see this.
But Hit is really good. And then Billy Williams did Hit. He did Lady Sings the Blues, Ebony.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Which is a great movie.
He's in
Colt 45 commercials.
He was also, I forget what.
Did you see Deadly Illusion, which was a fun Larry Cohen noir that Billy D gets to kick a lot of ass in?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay, that's another one. Totally recommend.
Trying to think, who else?
So many, I know. Richard Harris, I think, is very underrated.
Oh yeah.
Gene
Orca. Is that the guy from Orca and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever see hear the funny story talked about Marlon Brando?
No, I got to hear this.
Okay, so they were doing Mutiny on the Bounty, and Brando was being as usual. Movie was dead on arrival before it even made it to the box office, and Harris spited the man so much that he just smooshed him on the lips and said, "You fucking ruined this," and just called him all other sorts of names, I'm sure, like prick and diva, but he just seeing him on screen in Unforgiven along with Gene Hackman, and Hackman is no stranger. I love how, aside from the conversation, the Domino Principle is a pretty twisted spy movie. And of course, original Lex Luthor. So
you're forgetting the best role he ever had, which was Popeye Doyle.
There you go. Yes, the French Connection, baby. Yeah,
French Connection. And then there's Scheider, who does
Roy Scheider. Yes.
The French Connection, the 7-Ups.
The 7-Ups.
Jaws.
Yeah. Did you? We brought up Jonathan Demme and Napier. Did you ever see Last Embrace?
No.
Yeah, it's so good. Where it's simple, but it's just so cool seeing him play a former assassin trying to reintegrate back into human life.
When you were talking about Roy Scheider, there's a movie he did called Wizard, which is based on an old movie, which is based on The Wages of Fear, where he plays a trucker.
Oh yes, Sorcerer. Yes,
Sorcerer. I keep thinking Wizard. Sorcerer.
Yes. Now that is.
What are they trying to bring across? Nitroglycerin.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff that could be used for weapons. Yeah, it finally got the restored Blu-ray treatment.
Yeah, and Friedkin was like adamant that should be done.
Yeah, Friedkin's another one of his kind who I just love how his various panels, that when he's full of shit, you just gotta admire just his endless energy.
Blunt honesty.
Blunt honesty, yes.
But yeah, you got Hackman, you got Scheider, I don't know who else we can think of right now.
James Earl Jones can be a badass when he wants to. I mean, just being saw Master and Best of the Best. You ever see Blood Tide, where he plays kind of a gypsy kind of guy going against this voodoo death cult? But
I feel like I've seen that, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, he's so mainly on occasion he might pull out a gun or something, but yeah, he's for the most. Paris was an old procedurally.
Yes, I saw that.
Stephen Bosco.
I watched it as a kid. Paris. That was a great TV show.
Oh yes.
What's the one that he did? You know, he does Great White Hope, but there was another one that he did where he played like a psychiatrist, but it was like it's like a screwed up hippie movie.
I have not seen.
I'm trying to remember what.
I know.
James Earl Jones.
He was in a Rod Sterling movie. I know, where it's like in a '60s alternate reality where a black man becomes president, and obviously
the man,
and
yeah,
obviously he was.
Think of. I'm sorry.
I mean, you also got the various Tom Clancy movies where he's playing the Joint Chiefs Admiral guy.
So all this time it was James Earl Jones keeping us down,
right? He was the real hope.
Yeah. There's a movie I've been meaning to see with James Coburn called The Analyst, which you were describing something that made me think of that.
I will have to see this one.
Wait, the analyst or the president? It's the president's analyst, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's what it. Yeah, well, I will have to check that out too.
That was him, Godfrey Cambridge. I remember James Coburn, Godfrey Cambridge. Trying to think about Pat Harrington, who played Schneider on One Day at a Time, is in it, and Severin Darden, who was a really good character actor. He was in Conquest and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. He played the what is it, the bad guy, the mutant leader in that movie. Yeah,
that's sweet.
I'm trying to think. I'm looking for that movie that James Earl Jones did. I'm going to be like kicking myself because I know he did it and it was hilarious to watch. Let's see.
Now, while he's doing that, I just thought of another one that's kind of in that same genre. Claude Akins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he plays tough guys, or at least rough types. And if I remember correctly, he was in the last Planet of the Apes movie.
He played Aldo.
There you go.
Yeah,
he played Aldo in that movie.
Yep, and he did. I know he was in what was it called? A show called Moving On, where he played a truck driver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, the name of the movie I was looking for was End of the Road with him and Stacy Keach.
Oh, there's another one.
Where it's like he basically it's about an English professor who goes just basically off to a he goes nuts, and Stacy Keach goes nuts. He goes to this insane asylum run by Dr. D, who is James Earl Jones, and it's just silly and funny to watch. I mean, drama parts, but it was really good.
Dr. D. Harris Yulin from freaking Scarface, Clear and Present Dangers in that too.
Yep.
What's your take on Ricardo Montalban being an actual, bodybuilder and everything? He's in a good, obviously he's
in good shape he was in good shape for Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever
we
see
still have to ask the question? We still have to ask the question: ¿Quién es más macho, Fernando Lamas or Ricardo
Montalban?
Ricardo Montalban. Yes. Well, he's in a great Western called The Deserter, which is one of Tarantino's favorite movies.
And he was also in an episode of Columbo that was really well done.
I might have seen that one, but don't know for sure.
And with him, he got his second wind with Fantasy Island. So, you know.
Right. So I'm just, I mean, I just love him mainly just as the bad guy in Naked Gun.
Well, you ever see him in Freakazoid?
It also got me thinking about Patrick McGoohan.
Patrick McGoohan.
Oh, from The Prisoner.
Yeah. From The Prisoner, and also
Hell,
Secret Agent Man.
Anyone who was
Danger
on the
Man
60s shows the Avengers was pretty badass, but yeah.
He was the bad guy in Silver Streak.
And
yes, he was this new scenario will be having. I didn't know what a scenario meant, but when he said it, my ears would like perk up. He was good at Escape from Alcatraz
as the one.
Fucking as that sadistic son of a bitch warden. And then he does Baby Secret of a Lost Legend. And I'm like, come on, man. You're the prisoner. Come on. Playing second fiddle dinosaur.
I can't believe that movie's $20 on iTunes or something like that.
Yeah, who the hell wants that?
It's 17 to 20. I'm not sure, but I was like, I saw it on there. And I'm like, man, I haven't seen that since it was originally in the theaters, and it was really bad and boring. It's got William Katt in it.
Yeah.
Baby, what was that? Baby, I can't remember what it was called, but you said it out loud.
Yeah,
Baby Secret of a Lost Legend.
That's it. Yep.
And Sean Young being a diva. Also, do you consider Steve McQueen a smooth action star, or just a guy?
Like he said earlier, I like Bullet, and then there was The Getaway. Was there one called The Hunter?
That's the last movie he made.
That was The Hunter.
Yeah, 1980.
The Sand Peoples, I think, is very underrated, where he gets to be very
Sand
emotional.
Pebbles is great.
Richard Crenna's in that. He's,
The Great Escape.
The Great Escape. What was it? The Thomas Crown Affair.
Right.
I have that too. Yeah.
But the one that gets me is he does Tom Horn. He does he does he does Tom Horn. He does I forgot what else. Then he does a Heinrich Ibsen story called An Enemy of the People, where he plays a doctor who is warning people that the springs that the people are using, to heal themselves is basically like poison, and nobody will listen to him. And he actually
I think I have seen that one with George C. Scott. Yeah.
No, Charles Durning is in it. He plays his brother.
Oh, okay, yeah, the formula, yes.
And, the formula of George C. Scott, the enemy of the people.
Martin Sheen is one of the evil doctors, I think.
But the thing in that movie was he grew his hair out, and he grew a beard, he gained weight, and the movie didn't do too well, per se. And then he goes back to doing The Hunter, which is a great movie about Papa Bear Thorson, who's an actual guy, an actual bounty hunter. He was murdered in real life.
Yes.
And
for his final movie that he did, it's really not all that bad.
No, I mean him. Eli Wallach is in it. I'm trying to think who else.
LeVar Burton is the kid who he saves and says, "I'm going to give you one chance to get your life on track."
Sam
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson's in that. The great thing about that movie is that, the sad thing is that they were doing one scene where he was chasing a guy around a corner, and the guy who was the director, was asking, "Hey, anybody know where Steve is?" They're like, "We don't know. And what happened was that he walked around the corner, and there was Steve McQueen, like this, trying to catch his breath and pale as a sheet. And they didn't realize he had lung cancer. Like he was getting.
Boy.
But that movie is great to watch. I mean, even though it's his last film, it's great to watch him, do an action movie again.
Totally. And the car chases really are worth it. And I do like you say, the whole bounty hunter premise, how he's basically a hunter, before Fred Dryer, but he's an actual bounty hunter just going around, and he just can't win. And there's so many times where you just see movies like that and you're like, yeah, these are the kind of cool cats who Harrison Ford basically based their, careers off of. What about George Kennedy?
Oh, come on! Every
was he more movies. Like the airport movies? I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I just figured Cool Hand Luke. Yeah,
Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yep. Great.
The original Flight of the Phoenix. He's basically who you got if you can't afford Ernest Borgnine.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast wrecks and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
And somebody else came to mind when going through the 70s movies, J. Michael Vincent.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Damnation Alley. And there was one
that the one where they're driving
Bronson.
around? That's the one where they're driving around in that funny-looking vehicle.
Yeah.
Yes.
And supposedly the rumor was that was the vehicle that was in Arc 2.
It looks like
it's not. It's not.
It's not.
But they based it off of that. I think one based it off the other. But Damnation Alley was supposed to be the big moneymaker for Fox.
Mm-hmm. That had Paul Winfield and a bunch of others.
It was it was supposed to be a big moneymaker. Oh, go ahead.
Also, one he did with Charles Bronson, where he was an assassin learning from Bronson.
The mechanic, the original one.
The mechanic.
That was a freaking amazing movie.
The ending. The ending, Tom. One of the greatest endings. I'm sorry. You can talk about, Seven. You could talk about, this, that. The mechanic to me is like you're just sitting there going, what the fuck just happened?
Exactly.
It's basically the mind fuck from Fight Club.
Yeah.
Done with explosives.
Right.
Done with explosives, yep.
I mean, you were mentioning Sonatine earlier. Is like, whoa, what carnage just did I witness?
Robert Forster.
Alligator.
Yeah, totally.
Before that, I can't think of what they were before that, but
okay. Well, I mean, other than various other,
Vigilante
movies, I was going to bring up Vigilante because that and Woods and they are amazing in. They're just
Avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Avalanche with Rock Hudson.
Totally.
So
I saw the NST version of that.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's missing the boobs, but close enough.
Yeah.
The thing I love about that is the quote that the mother says, "Oh, he's up to his ass in celebrities," and it cuts to Rock Hudson. They go, "Okay, guys, don't say anything." And the mother crashing in the ambulance, and well, at least she went out the way she came in. What's that? Lit.
Oh.
Oh.
Ouch. What about Dirk Benedict?
Oh, yeah.
Battlestar and A-Team.
Yeah.
He did
one he did.
He did one called.
One he did
I remember that.
Yeah.
It's called Him, and he turns into a snake.
Yes.
Him, Strother Martin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Him, Strother Martin. Heather Menzies was in that.
I think so.
From Logan's Run.
Mm-hmm.
From
the
Logan's
TV
Run.
series, yeah.
And I remember, and Red Brown is in that. Red Brown is in that. Red Brown had a really good. You got to see the career he had.
He's
Holy
in a bunch of war movies. Yeah.
Yeah,
war movies.
He had a career. He's had a career, man. I mean, I follow him on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he posted a picture of him with Lillian Gish when they were on the Love Boat. He played her grandson.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, and he also worked with Helen Hayes and Mildred Natwick. And I'm like, these are some really good actors, you know. Yeah. I can't, you know. He worked with Christopher Lee when he did Captain America.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in Howling 2.
And in Howling 2.
I just got the out of print Blu-ray. It's amazing seeing Steve Johnson, you know, famous makeup artist.
There's one scene there I like to see them repeat over and over and over again.
Yes, yes.
But truthfully, can we ever truly get over his crowning achievement being in the first season of Chips?
Yeah.
Yep, a show which is where Michael Dorn started. Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Well, what do you think of George Peppard?
George Peppard.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Great as Banachek. Was good in the movie he did where he was the flyer.
The Blue Max. Battle Beyond the Stars.
No. Blue Max. The Blue Max. He was great in that. Battle Beyond the Stars, Gil, is a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I love how they have what's his face, Robert Vaughn, playing the same character he did in the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah. Fun throwback to all those Save the Village, only in outer space type movies. Yeah.
Gil, you what do you think made those 70s tough guys so good?
Just there was more grit, it seemed, in those 70s films. So it's just
sometimes they were actually punching each other, you know. Burt Reynolds insisted on doing all his own stunts. I can't not mention Burt Lancaster. I know he's a prick behind the scenes, but he is a good action star. Birdman of Alcatraz is still an amazing movie, and it annoys me when I see people going, "Oh, Shawshank Redemption, so original." I'm like, you know how many frames they still practically from that movie? Oh man.
Tom, what's your opinion about that too, with the 70s tough guys, you know?
For me, it's a combination of the societal thread that was moving through, especially in like mid to late 60s, early 70s, where everything started to get a little darker, a little grittier. And I think what really turned the corner, oddly enough, was a movie called Sweetback's Badass Song.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
That changed
Melvin Van
changed
Peebles,
the game.
man.
Period. It made realism entertaining, and it showed something that we definitely didn't see before then, and it kicked off blaxploitation. I also want to throw in a little bit of the stuff like the Grindhouse movies, so were popular in the 60s and 70s. I think they added a little bit of that grit to it, because people were not looking for they weren't looking for the 10 Commandments Part 2. They were looking at for something that was
a little put it.
Yeah, they were looking for something that looked closer to home, and the closer they got to home, the more things started to point out that things are not exactly the way that we were told they were.
Right.
And that led into, like I said, the Grindhouse films, definitely blaxploitation, and eventually, once blaxploitation took hold, then that's when I think the tough guys really started to come out and went from being actors who could act like a tough guy to tough guys who could act, like Fred Williamson.
Well, there's a Detroit 9000. That was sort of like a Grindhouse, but it wasn't really centered on blaxploitation. It was I can't remember who was in it.
Detroit 9000. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was. I saw it in a 4-pack with like Quentin Tarantino suggested, favorites or movies.
Oh wow, we got freaking Alex Rocco.
Oh man, I totally forgot this guy.
Wait a minute, Detroit 9000. Alex Rocco and the other guy are cops, and they're trying to bust up a drug ring.
Harry Rhodes from Breaking Point.
Yeah, I just saw the preview of that today, Gil.
Vanetta McGee
yeah,
from freaking Shaft in Africa. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, I think it was like I wanted to put this around to Gil and Tom was because to me it's like, first off, the 60s were, peace, love, and joy. And then 68, you got the Democratic, the riot, the Democratic riot.
Mm-hmm.
You got, Martin Luther King being assassinated, or Robert Kennedy being assassinated.
You've got so many people losing their minds.
Yeah. People are going ape shit, because Nixon's in office, the Vietnam War is escalating, all that stuff. And all of a sudden these movies are coming along where it's like, all right, screw forget about fantasy, forget about the good guy and the bad guy. We should start making movies where everybody is kind of like on a, there's a gray area that they're in.
60s opened up the content, the 70s opened up the commentary.
Yeah. And, there's a movie that came out in 1970 called 1,000 Rifles. Where we don't know if it's Burt Reynolds, Jim Brown, and
that's right, Raquel Welch.
Raquel Welch in that?
Raquel Welch.
Yeah, that just
and you don't know if Burt Reynolds is a good guy or a bad guy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also a movie called Tick, Tick, Tick with Jim Brown, George Kennedy, and I'm trying to think who else was in it, where Jim Brown plays a black sheriff who's been elected, and George Kennedy is the guy who he replaced, and it's in a southern town. And I forgot Clifton James was in that too. And they have to.
It sounds similar to Take a Hard Ride, where he's with freaking Jim Kelly and Lee Van Cleef. But yeah, I haven't seen that other one. But Jim Brown as a sheriff, I mean, shit, that's awesome.
Jim Brown was a force in the 70s, a force, man. I mean, he does Kenner, he does the slams, he does what else did he do? Jesus, I'm trying to think of what else. But before he was the first real black action hero I can remember. Like, I mean, he did the Dirty Dozen,
right?
And he steals it out. He steals it out. I mean, him and that's that. He was just amazing to watch, man. And then you got someone like Bronson who had done. Yeah, you got Bronson who breaks out of that movie where he does, Chano's Land and, The Mechanic, Mr. Majestic, the Death Wish series, the Stone. What was it? The Stone. What was the one he did? The Stone.
The Stone Killer. Yeah.
The Stone Killer, and the Death Wish series put him over. He wasn't, because I remember he does the Death Wish movies. It's like, and my name is, he's not even a cop. He's just this architect whose wife gets killed and his daughter gets raped.
Total
and
opposite of Popeye Doyle, where he's hardened already.
Yeah. And the thing was, like, all of a sudden these movies were coming out. It was grit. It was dirt. It's what was really going on. We were looking at the world going, oh shit, this isn't,
it's not like with Efren Zimbalist on 7/7 Sunset Strip where you're just a good-looking guy playing a detective.
Yeah. I mean, God, Bronson looked like your uncle who'd come over your house and have a couple of shots and tell you how the world sucks.
He can get you in a headlock if you talk.
Yeah, he can get you in a headlock and pop your eyeballs out.
Oh man, William Holden, I feel could have been a bigger tough guy actor. For the most part, he's just a chameleon, in intense roles.
Well, he does the Wild Bunch.
He does do the Wild Bunch, and I kind of wish I could have seen more cowboy or soldier roles from him.
He did do one with John Wayne. I know that. And to me, John Wayne in the 70s, he wasn't a tough. He was a.
He was the Steven Seagal of his time. Just the smack talker. Harsh, I know.
I just think, and Gil, Gil and Tom and Cameron. I don't like John Wayne. I like John Wayne and True Grit, and that's the only movie I'll watch him in. But I can't watch him.
Yeah, the Liberty Valance is a decent one, but yeah, it's not because of him.
McHugh.
I haven't. What was that? Watched McHugh.
What was your opinion on it?
Well, my wife really likes him. As far as his politics or something, I don't really follow that, or never followed that. But I mean, I liked Sons of Katie Elder. I liked, True Grit. Her favorite's McClintock. I like it too.
Yeah, I mean, I like McClintock and I like Big Jake, but I mean, to me, like when it came to the 70s, it was like now it had passed him by,
Well, you can tell. You can see it in movies like The Shootist and stuff like that. He was losing any energy he had.
Yeah. He didn't have that swagger he had anymore, and that's the thing, because you got to realize now, Clint Eastwood had taken over from, it wasn't, when I've said like something like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or what's the one, that
Rio Bravo is decent, but it's mostly an ensemble piece. It's not like, wow, these guys are tough guys.
There's Rio Bravo, and there's the other one he did. That is like Rio Bravo, but it's not Rio Bravo.
Shit.
Macho Grande?
Right.
Macho Grande.
Macho Grande. What the hell?
Rio Lobo.
That's the one. Yes. And that had Robert Mitchum, I think.
Yeah.
I always found him underrated.
Dean Martin, in the 70s, actually, he could have. I mean, he did like the Yakuza was a movie he did.
Yeah, totally.
Wasn't that him?
Yeah,
no, the Yakuza was Robert Mitchum.
Yeah, that's what I was. Isn't that what you said? Robert.
Yes. I
thought you said Dean Martin. I was like, Dean Martin and the Yakuza? No.
Yeah, no. Dean Martin.
That would have made it a lot more fun.
That would have been fun.
Hey there, Pally. Don't be throwing them.
Well, then I guess you
at me.
Dean Martin with the Matt Helm films. I guess it's not really.
So basically we're going to place John Wayne alongside Frank Sinatra, where you're a name but you're not really a tough guy. Oh man. Mitchum has so many very underrated, just like mercenary movies where there's one where he's like in Greece and he's basically the transporter. He's retrieving a contact.
There's some movies of his I would love to see. Yeah, I mean, the Yakuza was one that he's like the Friends of Eddie Coyle I've seen.
Yes, I want to see that. The Friends of Eddie Coyle. Thank you for bringing that up.
You'll like it. It's a pretty good heist movie, and there's plenty of other just movies where he plays mercs or cowboys or just detectives.
His son had a real good career too.
Oh yeah, Chris in the Philippines.
Yeah,
he did, because I've only ever seen some really crappy movies.
Well, that's the thing.
As I said, he was prolific in his crappies.
He did one called Blackout, which I want to see.
Right, with him and Robert Carradine. Yeah.
And then there's one that he did called Trackdown, which was kind of like a version of The Searchers. Yeah, it's a good. I saw it at a film fest, that X Fest. Young girl goes to Hollywood, gets involved with the wrong people, and he goes down to like find her. And from what I it's like a version of The Searchers. Doesn't end happily though, but basically. It's good. It's him, Eric Estrada, Kathy Lee Crosby, Ann Archer.
Oh wow!
Who else was in that movie?
Must have been really young. Must have been like her first movie.
Ann Archer, yeah, it was like one of the first five she did.
And speaking of Carradine, I can also mention David Carradine.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Kung Fu.
Yeah. Death Race 2000, baby.
Well, that's got Stallone in it too, and
Stallone in it.
It even has our governor, or not our governor, but senator. that was on Love Boat was in it.
Fred Grandy.
Oh, Fred Grandy, yeah.
He was in that.
Wow.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, he does
He was
a
one
movie.
of
Oh, go ahead.
he was like the like one of the assistants to somebody. I can't one of the lady drivers, I think.
Okay. So there's a David Carradine movie that he did with him and Stockard Channing, and all I remember is it's a race movie. It's a racing movie, and Christopher Lee. And
yes, I had seen that one. Man, back in the days, Rapid
and
Share.
who the hell was this Christopher Lee's assistant in that?
Circle of Iron, I think, right?
No. The Circle of Iron's a karate movie.
Right. Okay, so this is a racing movie with Carradine.
This is a racing movie. It's not the Gumball
Safari 3000. Yes.
Safari 3000. Yes.
That was fun.
And I remember watching that movie, and I kept thinking, David Carradine must have really been needing the cash. But then I started thinking to myself, you know what? He probably made enough off of Kung Fu. He could do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't badmouth David Carradine, man. He did Death Sport, Death Race 2000, Circle of Iron.
And he did actually take up some Kung Fu. He didn't know it 100%, but he was very physically agile. Unlike
they used him
Eric Roberts, who took like 2 classes and then said, I'm a martial artist. You know?
Yeah, he played the bad guy martial artist in Lone Wolf McQuade.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one where the ending, Gil, he gets shot and we don't even see it?
I actually don't remember. It's been a few years since I've seen.
I don't recall him getting shot.
Or he gets his ass kicked and we don't even see it, you know.
They wanted that PG rating.
And it has Chakotay from Star Trek Voyager in it too.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
He's the deputy.
Can't think of his real name, but
tell me how to fight, Chuck. Yeah.
Robert Beltran, I think it is.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He teaches acting lessons now.
Well, or does voices on that Star Trek Prodigy now.
Well, yes, that too.
Yeah, I keep wanting to see a lot of those shows, and I'm like, oh shit, I keep missing it, or you know.
You'll have plenty of time. Yep.
We were talking about Robert Shaw before. He did a great movie that no one's really ever seen. I hope it's out on DVD, called Swashbuckler.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What year was that?
That was like 79 or some shit like that.
No, 70. Died in 70. So it's 75, I think, 76.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
He plays a pirate. It's him, James Earl Jones, Genevieve Bujold. I'm trying to. It's kind of like a real funny movie to watch, you know.
Oh yeah.
We're leaving out a movie that I think a lot of people should watch, just for the sheer talent level that's in this movie.
That's in there, yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones and William Devane in Rolling Thunder.
Oh yes, right.
That should have been one. That should have been one I mentioned early, but I didn't.
Paul Schrader, man. Yep.
Paul Schrader wrote this script and directed it, and it's a movie where it was like, I watched like the first 15, 20 minutes of it, and I was like, holy Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to watch more of it because, you know, as time goes on, I'm going to be. But Tommy Lee Jones, William Devane in that movie, you know, he's a Vietnam vet. He comes home, and they thought he had died.
Didn't he have an arm missing in that one?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He got $20 silver from the town,
and easily just as gritty as, you know, Marathon Man. And Devane is pretty underrated as a whole as an actor. Yeah.
And James Best plays the bad guy. The guy who played
Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Yep, the guy who played Roscoe P. Coltrane. So what they do is, I think they beat his wife and kill his son, and they chop his arm off, right?
Yeah, to add insult to injury, you can't fight back.
What they do is he decides to get even. So what he does is he constructs a thing where he can shoot a gun with his bad arm, like the hook of the arm, a la Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And he goes after the guys, and Tommy Lee Jones was like his buddy. And he says, I found the people that killed my son and beat my wife. I know where they are. Tommy Lee Jones just said very, very plainly.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get my gear and we'll go.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it is a dark movie. It's a dark movie to watch.
Totally.
I got to admit, I haven't seen Rolling Thunder. I've seen the trailer in a 42nd Street DVD collection I have of movie trailers, and I saw the trailer in that. And it's something I've been wanting to see, but I haven't yet.
It's on Tubi, I think. It's on Tubi.
Is it?
Yeah, you got to look. I mean, they may take it off. They take it off and put it back on every once in a while.
You will enjoy it. Yeah.
Tommy Lee, William Devane, Tommy Lee Jones, Rolling Thunder.
And actually, was it Death Proof where the movie starts rolling out, and it actually the title Rolling Thunder, I think even pops up briefly, and then it changes to Death Proof or something.
Oh, God.
I think if I'm remembering.
Probably.
Holy crow!
So I knew that Quentin Tarantino was a fan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about a lot someone like Quentin Tarantino who brings these 70s, gritty grindhouse tough guy movies.
Yeah,
to
Franco
art.
Nero cameo in his own Django is like. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I saw Franco Nero in a movie that he did in 1973 at this X Fest. Gil, where do you live, if you don't mind me asking?
Des Moines, Iowa, same as Thomas.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So
we'll have to see it next time we're
there. I'll send you a list of what I saw at the X Fest because it was the movie we saw with Frank was a movie called True Crime or something like that. I forgot what it was called.
Well, wasn't True Crime something with wasn't that something in the 80s?
No, that's Clint Eastwood.
Christian Slater's who I'm thinking of. True Romance.
Let me see. Yeah, I'm back on. Yeah, so Franco Nero plays a cop, and he's going after a drug cartel or something like that.
There's a lot of those. He does those 70s cop movies that were.
It's him, James Whitmore, and I forgot the other.
James Whitmore. Jesus.
James Whitmore's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. High Crime. Okay.
High Crime.
Yep. High Crime. Wow.
Yeah.
This looks legit, and it's by Njoji Castellari, who you might know from the Bronx Warriors movies.
Yep.
The Big Racket.
And the thing I love about it is like it's just so violent, the way everything plays out in the movie. But it's like there's some points when you're watching it, you're like, how could they get away with this? But the great thing is Franco Nero is such a badass in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
he's in a martial arts flick too. Now I think of it, Franco Nero, the guy from Django movies.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Can't think of the name of that though.
Enter the Ninja.
Yep, that's it.
He only did one, right? He only did one of those.
Well, did I say many? I meant I did. That's the only one that I saw him in.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them, and there was like Enter the Ninja, Enter Ninja 2, Enter Ninja 3, Possession.
But he was only in like the first one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Very cool, gents.
I got something. I brought this up on a page once, and it's a movie I saw when I was young. It came out in '75. I know that. And it's a shit, and like these gunfire's going off, and everything is bleeding. Everything that the gunfire hits bleeds. If it's like a wooden post, it bleeds. If it's a car headlight, it bleeds. And I'm trying to remember.
Sam Peckinpah.
Well, no, it wasn't a Peckinpah. In fact, if I remember right, it had like one of the guys from the Bowery Boys in it.
Oh wow!
Might have even had more than that.
Gabe Dell's in it. Is it Gabe Dell?
That sounds familiar.
Gabe Dell might be in it. Gabriel Dell. Hold on, I can look it up. Give me a minute. You said it's like everything bleeds in it.
Yeah, there's a gunfight that goes off between these two guys, and like everything that gets shot bleeds, even if it's an inanimate object.
Hold on, let me look. Gabe Dell. Because I'm trying to think.
I thought it was, until recently, I thought it was a fever dream I had when I was a kid or something. But it was an actual movie.
You said one of the Bowery Boys is in it, right?
Yeah. In fact, there might be more than one Bowery Boy in it, but I think there's definitely one.
Let me see. You said it's 1975?
Yep.
Let's look.
It was a weird movie too. I mean,
the Manchu Eagle Murder Mystery Caper? No, that ain't it.
That sounds. What was that again?
The Manchu Eagle Murder Caper Mystery.
That's it.
Okay, it's a takeoff on the Maltese Falcon.
Wow.
And it had Barbara Harris, Anjanette Comer, Will Gear, Sorrel Brook, Vincent Gardenia, Nita Talbot, and Nicholas Colasanto. Coach?
Wow.
Yeah. He was a bartender in there. I think he was a bartender in there, which would be ironic. But yeah.
Yeah, Dick Gaudier is in it.
Oh, yeah. Jaime from Get Smart.
Yeah. And a competent mail-order private eye aided by a chicken hatchery owner is called upon to solve the murder mystery of a mail-order private-eyed nutty milkman, Gaudier, who's discovered had a secret life where he practiced various animal fetishes.
This sounds like
it's a weird movie.
Wacky time.
Oh, wow.
He's a furry.
You haven't seen it, you need to check it out.
I'm going to see if I can find it somewhere just to watch it.
YouTube's usually a good place to look.
Yeah. YouTube's been pulling up a lot of stuff lately, which is really cool.
Very sweet. Very sweet. These are some good recommendations, all. Well, if that's it, I think we've done a bunch of ass kicking. We've done a bunch of high punches. We've done car chases. We've done hard-boiled cops and outlaws. Yeah.
Bad cops in the loose.
Right. Architects, everyday heroes, getting fit, 70s style.
There's one movie I think that you guys should see that is a really fun movie. And I forgot to bring it up. It's called Shoot with Cliff Robertson, Henry Sylvan, Ernest Borgnine.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I've seen
the trailer for that.
Same here.
I watched it, and holy crow! All you can say is this is how you act when you're Ernest Borgnine in the 70s. What the hell are you doing?
Whatever notes we were given.
You know, it's a good movie to watch. Cliff Robertson is psychotic.
I believe it.
I mean, he's just off his rocker in that movie.
Wow. Check that one out. Anything?
And on that happy note,
just our usual selves. Anything else you guys are watching that you want to recommend? Any documentaries on some of these cult movies?
I've been watching Sergei Eisenstein's Ivan the Terrible.
Oh, wow.
to see why Harvey and Michael Medved called one of the worst movies of all time. Because I've been watching a lot of the movies they suggested, and I see nothing wrong with them. And then I realized Michael Medved's a real dingbat. You know. I did watch the Japanese movie Alakazam. And I just want an hour. I want that 90 minutes of my life back.
That reminds me. I saw it's on Tubi right now. I think it's called The Brain Monster. It's a Japanese film. It's so weird. I love it.
I have to watch that.
At least it wasn't Inchon.
Oh.
Where you watch and you're like, it may not be as bad as it is, but it's still an Ishtar in terms of there's very little entertainment value here.
The movie version of Pink Lady and Jeff.
Oh
yeah.
And I'm thinking, I just thought of a weird movie. It's not an action movie or anything like that. And it was one another one I thought that it was a fever dream when I was young. And it had Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel in it. And it wasn't the producers. It was called Rhinoceros.
Yes, I've seen that movie.
Oh God!
I like a few years back, I finally, I thought it was a fever dream, and then I saw that title. I'm like, why does that seem familiar to me? So I started watching it. I'm like, oh my God! I thought this was something I had a nightmare about when I was a kid.
Do you want something funny, Gil?
What?
When Encore first came on, they played a lot of these old, like 70s movies, which I loved to watch. Rhinoceros was one of them.
Was it?
Yes. Gene Ahulian was the guy who wrote it, and they basically Americanized it. And because they, it wasn't in Paris, it was in America. It wasn't a small town, it was a city. They just basically, that was an actual movie. Yeah, you're right, Gil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where everybody around him is all turning into rhinoceroses.
That's wild. Oh man. Wild, wild, wild. But hey, fun as time.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Gil, it's finally good to talk to you because I see we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah, well, I was involved in another conversation, but it was not one I got involved with too much because you guys knew more about it than I did.
No, don't worry about it, man.
It's all about just being a laid back chat, no favoritism or a cool guy here knows something more than me. It's like, well, we all got some good suggestions here for our reminder of movies we had seen or need to re-see.
Well, I keep thinking that I'm a pretty good movie expert, and I'm hearing JJ talk, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah. It's called getting
welcome to the
schooled.
club.
Yeah. Getting schooled by JJ. It's a fun time.
The thing, Gil, I got to tell you is that like I had two older parents. I've told people this, so I was like exposed to a lot more stuff than most kids were when it came to movies.
Yeah.
So my father would tell me about like movies like M with Peter Lorre.
Oh God.
And yeah,
that's a classic.
I know way more about musicals than I should because of my grandmother. Yankee Doodle Dandy and Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain and
whatever you're raised on. That's where you know.
Annie, get your gun.
Huh?
Annie, get your gun.
Yep.
And you know that Judy Garland was supposed to be in that movie, and they dropped her.
Nope, I didn't know that.
They dropped her. I think due to like she was exhausted or something like that. And they brought in what's her face, Betty Hutton, and she did a great job.
It's always wild how these castings are not much different than any other, day job where it's like the person passes the job interview but can't do the work. So whoever was denied interview pretty much instantly gets the job right up front.
Well, I think technology has kind of demystified actors nowadays.
Yeah, anyone can have CGI muscles and work out in the gym for 2 weeks.
That's what's kind of pissed me off about a lot of movies lately is that.
That's why I watch all these Olympus Has Fallen and Expendables type movies because they're basically just bringing back all stuff like the Wild Geese and Dirty Dozen type stuff.
And the thing with me is that you gotta, to me, like those movies, like you said, the Wild Geese, the Dirty Dozen, the movie, a lot of those
dying inside, even though they are otherwise unkillable.
Yeah. I just watched a movie called High Risk with James Brolin, Cleavon Little. Who else was in it? Bruce,
the Bionic Woman herself.
Cleavon Little, is he that guy that was in Blazing Saddles?
Yep.
But wasn't Lindsay Wagner in that? I think
Lindsay Wagner's in it.
Anthony Quinn,
I'm trying to think.
Right.
Anthony Quinn's in it. James Coburn's in it. Ernie Borgnine makes an appearance in it. It's a bunch of guys go down to South America to rob like $5 million from this drug dealer.
Yeah,
and they basically get caught, and they have to go rescue their buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce Davidson was in it.
Oh wow!
And he's one of the guys that goes down there. And then the guy who played Marvin Gomez from Thank God It's Friday. Remember the guy who dances on the car?
Yeah.
He's got the. My name is Marvin Gomez, but I love to wear leather. He's in that movie too. And the great thing about the movie, it's just like the ultimate, like, caper movie.
Yeah.
That goes wrong.
I've seen it offered on various DVDs and VHSs. I think if I saw it, it was one brief night on a antenna channel. I found it very similar to this other movie that has Christopher Lee, Telly Savalas, and even OJ, Killer Force.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It just, the 70s and 80s were, before the 90s and 2000s, they experimented way more with just giant all-star casts,
Whoa. Wow. That I gotta find.
Yeah.
I also gotta find Jaguar Lives.
Jaguar Lives. Why does that sound
weird? The guy who was in Force 5.
Joe Lewis. Oh wow.
I've
seen this.
There's a movie that I mentioned to Thomas that I needed to show him that I haven't yet. The last time we got together at the theater, and it's called Roar. Came out in 1980, and has Melanie Griffith in it.
Oh yeah,
Tippi Hedren.
Yeah,
Tippi Hedren. Yep.
And the lion almost killed Melanie Griffith.
Yep. Yeah, they were trying to act with untrained lions and animals in this movie, and whatever script they had kind of went out the window, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it bit Melanie Griffith on the neck.
He had to get surgery. Yep.
Yeah, and they had to stop filming for like a year or something like that. Well, I remember that.
I think I remember reading, because after I watched the movie, I saw stuff on YouTube, and it took them like 10 years to make the movie.
Yeah.
Lindaman, famous cinematographer.
Yep, he was
director of Speed and Twister.
And I think Black Panther's dad was in that too. I'd have to take another look, but I saw a black actor there. That looks like the guy who played Black Panther's dad.
I don't think it's Forrest Whitaker. I don't think he was.
No, not Forrest Whitaker. There was his dad dies because he was the previous Black Panther.
Okay. Maybe.
Okay.
And you see him like in the dream world where,
I know the cinematographer though. Like on the poster, there's a picture of a guy who got scratched by a lion, and that's the cinematographer. They use that for the marketing. And he still to this day is like, man, that was a shit show of a movie.
But yeah, no, it's something I've been dying to show Thomas and another friend of mine. Trying to get him out to my place, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Unusual action sci-fi horror movie. It might have been the one that kicked off all the Tiger Attack films.
There is a movie I want to see with Dennis Christopher.
Ooh.
Where he plays a nerdy guy who basically is obsessed with movies, and he starts to kill people.
That's every movie, but no, I
yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I think it was called. Shit, I'm trying to remember the name of it. And then there's another movie he did called California Dreamin', where he plays like this button-down guy who moves out to California. And it's a comedy.
Wow. I think it's been a few decades, but I think I've seen that.
Yeah, that's a good movie. But they did a remake of that with C. Thomas Howell and Peter, what's his face, the guy from 30 something.
Oh,
where it was kind of like that.
Peter Horton, I think.
Oh, Side Out. That's the name of the movie.
Side Out, yeah.
Oh, okay. That was on HBO every.
Yeah. God, I remember Side Out. Jesus.
It's such a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been a delight going into this intro hour as always. So next week we're doing
Oh yeah.
This Jerry and Sylvia Anderson. Yeah.
Huh?
Jerry and Sylvia Anderson. The
Thunderbirds.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Thunderbirds, UFO, Space 1999.
Mm-hmm.
I like the outfits that we've been wearing UFO.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh, by the way, have you guys ever seen Moon 02?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the costumes on UFO.
Yeah, I already made that the hair. I remember looking at the hair.
Yep.
Gil, I think you mentioned that to me.
Did I?
I think I posted something about that on some move on about Mystery Science. So I was watching Moon 02, and you said, "Yeah, it looks like they had the same design," because I know Gabrielle Drake wore the same kind of wig.
This must have had a conversation we had a long time ago. Then
it was. I think it was a long time ago, and I think I was like, I just had watched it, and I was like, I just noticed a lot of the stuff on that was like, it looks like the production designer worked on UFO, and I think, yeah, and I think the one thing that gets me is Catherine Schell, who was in Moon 02, would be on Space 1999.
Yep.
Yeah.
Season 2.
How it all works.
Yep.
What was her name on Space 1999? I know she was a changeling.
Maya.
I think it was Maya. Yeah.
Maya. She was a changeling, and they brought, when they did this, well, we're going to get to this next week, but what happened was that the guy who played Dr. Victor Bergstrom, what's his name? Barry Morse, basically just was like, look, we want you to come. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. And what they did was they wrote in, I think, a novel or an episode that he, like, Victor, if you, one goddamn, one faulty oxygen, line, and that's it. They basically told, thought he died of his spacesuit malfunctioned or something like that. But they changed the whole cast around except for, there's what Martin Landau and what's her face, his wife at the time,
Bain.
Barbara Bain, yeah.
Yep.
They had some of the people from season 1 scattered there, but mainly it turned into Caning, Doctor, Maya, and security guy who was also on Tony. That was his name.
Tony. Yeah. And they had the guy with the mustache too.
Exactly.
Pretense Hall was gone by then. They had the other guy.
Pretense Hancock.
Pretense Hancock.
I thought I saw him in a few episodes in season 2.
I got to read up on this because I think what happened was the production. The guy who was the head of the production, basically like Ed Friendly or Ed Freeberger, whatever his name was. Ed Freeberger.
It was Ed Friendly.
Ed Friendly.
Or Fred. Maybe it was Fred.
Was he friendly?
Fred Freeberger. Fred Freeberger. That's his name. Fred Freeberger. He basically said, "All right, we're gonna do it this way. It's gonna be like Star Trek now." And like they were just like, God, no,
ideas. Yeah. Well, next week you can hear it all in its fabulous glory. But till then, guys, I'm glad we just could go through the tunnel of just endlessly fascinating guys who we still want to see the rest of the resumes. They got very hard to find movies. So it's always fun going to just yard sales and just archive shops and just finding just little gems.
There's a place by me now. They're selling all these old DVDs and stuff, and I found like stuff for like $1. I was like, oh, I gotta get this.
Yes.
Can't blame you. All right. Well, kudos to y'all, and
kudos to you too.
Kudos to me. Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.
All right.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up